Live from our 7 Tasmania studios, your nightly news with Kim Miller begins now.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. As construction on the Bridgewater Bridge moves forward, reaching another milestone, the same can't be said for Tasmania's government businesses, according to the opposition. They're demanding the government and GBE bosses come clean about their handling of the Spirit saga, among other ongoing issues.
The last precast concrete segments of the Bridgewater Bridge have now been built, ready to be craned into position after Christmas, and the government's eager to spread the word.
It is fantastic to see this job coming together so smoothly. Every single week there is something that changes, something different about this bridge, a bridge that is on time and on budget.
A far cry from the Spirit of Tasmania fiasco. The price tag for berthing one of the new ferries in Scotland still remains unclear as it continues its maiden voyage to Leith.
When those costs are finalised, everyone will be informed.
The project debacle is set to be a major focus when government business enterprises are put under the microscope this week. Tasports is among the first to be grilled tomorrow, and Labor is demanding answers.
We've seen resignations in other government businesses and in the government, but nothing from Tasports.
But it's not just the GBEs overseeing the spirits that will face the music. Questions remain over TasNetwork's move to source a single contractor for maintenance work and the performance of other state-owned companies. The scrutiny of GBEs this week comes at a crucial time for the government, which is considering a range of sweeping reforms to improve how they're run and a possible merger of TT Line, Tasports and Tasrail, which are still being reviewed. But the Greens say that assessment should be done independently.
We're very concerned that this is a process that's happening in an ad hoc way.
Consultation continues on that. We've announced some key areas of focus in the discussion paper which have achieved strong bipartisan support, that is in terms of some of the GBE reform.
Anthony Dodd, 7 Tasmania News.
A concerned group of veterinarians is calling for an immediate end to greyhound racing, labelling certain practices as unacceptably cruel. The industry maintains it has animal welfare at the forefront, but critics say that doesn't add up.
These vets are often some of the first to treat former greyhounds no longer needed on the racetrack, today uniting with a common cause to end the industry.
I don't think people fully understand the extent of the track injuries, and some of them are strain injuries or stress fractures that don't become apparent for a few days.
40 veterinary professionals from across Tasmania calling for racing to be phased out by 2029 when the current government funding deed expires.
We know in the shelters that a lot of them are having trouble adjusting. Diarrhoea is a very common symptom of chronic stress, anxiety issues.
Also launching this video featuring disturbing incidents recorded on track.
I can't actually watch it. I can't watch it. It's too difficult for my brain to deal with.
Industry figures show over 200 injuries have been recorded on Tasmanian tracks so far this year. Yet the state government maintains the industry's reformed.
And it is continuous improvement. The industry needs to continuously improve when it comes to the welfare of their animals.
Tas Racing says policies are in place to reduce the impact of racing on greyhounds, adding data indicates a reduction in the number of greyhounds deceased or euthanised as a result of injuries sustained on track. But these vets say choosing to care for some dog breeds, but not all, doesn't add up.
It's like there's this whole population of dogs out there, and then there's the greyhounds, and they're just in their own little world.
Ruby Cairns, 7 Tasmania News.
A flood watch and act is still in effect in the state's north following heavy rainfall over the weekend. Authorities issuing a moderate warning for the South Esk River. It follows a major deluge on Saturday night, which saw flash flooding at St Mary's. Conditions appear to be easing elsewhere though, and Murph will have more in the weather report later in the bulletin. Hobart Lord Mayor Anna Reynolds insists her council is considering the concerns of businesses after a petition campaigning against a proposed bike lane on Collins Street gained more than 1,000 signatures. The Confederation of Greater Hobart Business fears removing car parks for the cycleway would cause traders along the street to lose customers. But the group and the Lord Mayor don't want an elector poll.
Spend all of that money on an elector poll when really we are constantly listening. This is a trial, we can make adjustments.
Elector polls are not enforceable and can cost councils up to $200,000. The Weather Bureau is warning Tasmanians of unusually hot weather over the coming months, while sun safety is the focus of a Cancer Council plea to the public, with Australia having one of the highest rates of skin cancer in the world.
Tasmania has a reputation of mild summers, but according to the Bureau of Meteorology, we're in for a very warm few months.
It's incredibly likely we'll see above average minimum temperatures, and with that a rise in humidity compared to a typical Tassie summer.
While there's no set temperature threshold needed to declare a heatwave, experts are warning of an increase in risk over summer. For those lucky enough to live by the coast, the sea breeze a welcomed relief when the weather turns hot.
It's really those inland areas that have the potential to really bake during those hot days.
The Health Department asking people to be aware of the risks of heat-related illnesses, particularly the elderly, the pregnant or chronically ill.
Make sure you help keep yourself cool, avoid that hottest part of the day, wear loose-fitting clothing, wear a hat, wear sunscreen, pop on sunglasses.
Skin cancer experts are warning warm conditions across parts of Tasmania are a recipe for disaster, with the state having one of the highest rates of skin cancer diagnosis in the country.
Melanoma is the third most commonly diagnosed cancer for men and the fourth most commonly diagnosed cancer for women.
If you are planning a day outside, it's important to remember the age-old Aussie jingle. Slip, slop, slap, seek and slide. To help keep us safe.
We always have to make sure, particularly during these warmer months coming up, that we check the UV rating and make sure we take precautions when we go outside.
And preventing disease before it could become deadly. Lily Thompson, 7 Tasmanian News.
Hobart's house prices are on the rebound following a decline in November. The latest PropTrack report finding prices rose by 0.43% last month, and for the first time since 2022, the capital recorded positive annual growth. Elsewhere, house prices in regional Tasmania grew by 0.65%. As the housing crisis continues to cripple many Tasmanians, some of the state's brightest minds are putting their brains together. A meeting of experts looking at new ways to unlock more development opportunities and fill gaps in the market.
Uncovering alternative solutions to a current problem, tackling the housing shortage top of the agenda.
We need all forms of housing. We need apartment buildings, townhouses, single residential.
80 of the housing sector's leading minds joining forces for an expert roundtable looking to new ways to tap into Hobart's unused land.
Use more government-owned land to enable development. Government-owned Land Development Corporation, because that is a vehicle that can deliver that. The private sector can't.
In recent years, Hobart City Council says it's approved more than 650 apartment units, but it's yet to see many of those break ground.
There are big challenges that we can't control, but we'd really love to know if there are things that we can do, and talking with industry is a really good way for us to keep our finger on the pulse.
The council using the meeting to identify industry-wide hurdles so it can help achieve that goal and boost overall supply across the city.
We just need to see a continuation of investment and certainty so that we can progress projects.
While it's long been said home is where the heart is, a new report has found home ownership may be the key to contentment. The study comparing living conditions state by state, crowning Tasmanian homeowners the happiest in the country.
Look at stability, we look at location, we look at how people feel inside their home, but also housing conditions. Tasmanians were the happiest state overall.
Victoria Risto, 7 Tasmania News.
Well, further efforts to reduce the risk of bushfires this summer are underway, with $80,000 poured into vegetation clearing around power lines in the Derwent Valley. Weed management and water restoration programs are also proving crucial in protecting Tasmania's fire-prone regions.
Flood resilience programs, they're also really important for public infrastructure and making sure that also private infrastructure is protected.
Well, Tasmanians are reminded to have their own bushfire plan in place. Well, now we're in December, many Tasmanians are celebrating the Christmas countdown with a cherished tradition, decorating the tree. One local seller is marking 50 years of providing living pines, and he says you can't beat the real thing.
'Tis the season for Christmas magic, and Peter Lefevre is busy delivering a central part of the celebrations.
Well, there's something I think here with children. They see them and they just have to have one.
Hundreds of families visiting his Evandale home over the weekend, keen to pick out the perfect pine. On the job for half a century, Peter's put smiles on generations of faces.
And little girls and their nappies have come with their children now, and their children coming with their children. And now the next lot's about to come, makes me feel ancient.
The festive favourite is in such high demand, Peter's been setting out at 4 each morning, harvesting dozens of trees ahead of the day's trade.
Getting hard, nearly 70.
Starting at $20, live trees also come with environmental benefits.
People just throw them in their backyard, and when the pine needles fall off, they use that for mulch on their garden, and the thing will just rot away in a few months.
Peter just has some simple instructions to keep your tree looking fresh and nice all the way up into the new year. Pop it in a bucket which is half filled with some rocks and water with some sugar mixed in. And that's it. It'll stay fresh and green all the way through. And while fake trees might still dominate this Christmas, Peter's still run off his feet, helping create new festive memories. Annie Green, 7 Tasmanian News.
And the countdown to Christmas is officially on at the Royal Hobart Hospital, with staff flicking on the switch of the decorated tree lights. The event accompanied by MediSing, a choir made up of health workers from across the health department.
We're ringing out for Christmas Day.
I'm working across ED and the ambulance service, where we spend a lot of time together in stressful situations and coming together and doing something that we all really enjoy. It's been wonderful. I think it's been...
The choir is part of the staff wellbeing program and will continue to showcase its talent at the 2025 Festival of Voices.
Hurricanes draftee Rashad Hussain has informed the club he's now unavailable for the Big Bash season, but they've wasted no time locking in a replacement import, signing Afghani spinner Waqar Salamkeel. The 23-year-old's been playing in the Caribbean Premier League with best bowling figures of 4 for 14. In his only test match for Afghanistan, he claimed 4 wickets against Ireland, but he's taken 74 wickets from just 12 first-class matches. The Northwest's Jed Beaton has sealed a podium finish in the Oz MX Open over the weekend, despite finishing third in the final race inside a mud-filled Marvel Stadium. Beaton's strong results across the season saw him finish second in the SX1 category behind fellow Aussie Hunter Lawrence. Heartbreak this afternoon for the only Tassie team at the Ultimate Bowls Championship in Victoria. The Port Sorell Sharks, made up of Amity Bickley, Cody Marshall and Bailey Bellchambers, recording a thumping win over Team Phoenix from Brisbane in the final game. It wasn't enough to propel them into the top 6 and finals, but only briefly. They'd finish 7th on points differential after an unfavourable result in another game.
Good evening. Hope you enjoyed your weekend. Had a bit of everything, didn't it, really? Today, Hobart's 28 was the warmest for the state. Launceston reached 22, Devonport 19 and Burnie 21. Temperatures close to or above average. Friendly Beaches 27, Campania and Ouse 26. St Helens 25 today, Grove 24, King Island 20, Flinders Island, Smithton, Low Head and Lyowini all 19, a bit cooler for Strawn. Some high-level cloud moved over from the Bight and patchy low-level cloud sits over parts of the north and west. Further afield, thunderstorms continue over New South Wales, Queensland, Western Northern Territory and Northern WA. A bit moving through the Bight too. Be with us in a few days. Tomorrow a cold front and associated low arrives on our doorstep and a trough runs through the centre of the country. The winds north-northeasterly reaching 30 knots, then tending west to southwesterly at similar speeds tomorrow. Strong wind warning has been issued for waters clockwise from Wineglass Bay around to Flinders Island. And the moderate flood warning mentioned earlier in the bulletin continues for the South Esk River. Minor flood warnings out out for the North Esk and St Paul's rivers. 28 today for Hobart, 26 tomorrow, but showers on the way. Showers for Adventure Bay as well. 22 the top for Tarraleah with a similar forecast. 23 for Launceston, showery. Devonport 21, 21 also for Bridport. Showers for Burnie. 21 the top, 23 for Strawn. Marrawar won't miss out, a few showers, and 20 the top. And in the east tomorrow, 23 for St Helens, 26 for Swansea, 24 for Whitemark, early showers gradually easing. Conditions quickly on the improve on Wednesday with sunny skies expected right across the state. Fine weather into Thursday as temperatures warm a little, and on Friday another burst of showers as that next cold front appears. 24 and cloudy in Perth tomorrow, sunny weather for Adelaide, showers and a possible storm in Melbourne, a shower or two for Sydney, and 30 as well in Brisbane and partly cloudy there. Still fine, 22 in Hobart, cloudy in Launceston, 20, mostly cloudy but fine in Devonport, currently 17 degrees. Kim, put a bit of petrol in the car today, so I'll go on a bit of a jaunt tomorrow, and I look forward to presenting the weather to you from somewhere.
Somewhere in Tasmania, let's hope.